Ok. Bueno, pues gracias por conectarse otro día más en este, pues bueno, ya noveno día del festival. Y pues tenemos aquí a Helena Maximovich, directora de Domovin. Y pues nada, vamos a hacer unas preguntas. Esto va a estar en inglés, entonces pues bueno, todo chido. Helena, how are you?
Fine, thanks. Thanks for inviting me.
No, thanks for giving us the opportunity to screen your film at the festival. We are really honored to have it and to screen it with the Mexican audience. We had your film, your last film, I think the feature length, Taurunum Boy, last year. So, well, it's great to have your new film at the competition. So it's a really great thing for us. So please let us know the idea behind the project, this new project of Domovin.
Okay, well, the idea to make this film started when I first visited the place of birth of my grandmother in northern Greece. And from my memories, actually, from the childhood, when she used to tell me that she fought in a Greek civil war as a very young partisan, and then she was wounded and transferred to Yugoslavia because Tito's partisans used to help Greek partisans at the moment. So, and she was a refugee in Yugoslavia, and she stayed there for her whole life, actually. And the thing is that she was very ill for more than 10 years, and she couldn't speak at all because she had Alzheimer. And that's why we decided actually to base this film on memories and not so many facts, and somehow try to gather the film from the spaces and from the people we meet in the place. And also we were filming a bit in Zemun, my hometown, where also Taurunum Boy was made. That's part of Belgrade, actually. So yeah, well, actually, when I went there, I felt like home, and it was very unusual for me to have such a strong feeling in completely another country. And I just wanted to dedicate this film not only to her, but to all women who fought for their rights and ideas of freedom and equality.
And how do you script or structure your these ideas and these images to the montage?
Okay, well, I had a script, like I pre-wrote the script before the shooting, and it was very fictional. And then we realized that we're gonna lose a lot of things if we keep it like that. And we just let the film be completely free. And then we filmed everything we realized that it makes sense for us there. So that's why it begins like a fiction film, and it was like it was meant to be much more precise in that, going from the fiction to the documentary and then to the essay film. But then in the editing, I somehow felt that it doesn't work like that. So I followed the material, and I was consulting also my colleagues, my collaborators, and we realized that this is the only structure that worked for us. So it's a kind of, I don't know, it was a strange process, but we felt it meant sense for us. So yeah, it was like that.
I think you have a very interesting reflection on history and like going back to the roots within your film, and yeah, roots meaning like this nationality and going back to your hometown and looked for this kind of, yeah, like lost history. Can you talk about this history in this place?
Yeah, well, I collaborated with a friend of mine who is historian, and he kind of helped me to learn about Greek history at the moment and stuff. But I realized that it's not my thing to deal with some kind of justice or anything. So I try to avoid that element. I just put the text at the end of the film explaining the context, but I didn't want to play smart because it's like it is like a very hard subject, what I was interesting was actually what does it mean to have a homeland, and what does it mean to be actually expelled from your homeland and not be able to return ever again. And also, the thing is that I think that we are not brave at all at this moment, and that we are actually not doing anything politically, and that we live a horrible life in this society. So I was interested, what was it like to be like my grandmother? You know, what was it like to be such a strong woman who's not afraid to carry a gun, you know, in her like early adulthood, and be brave and not be afraid of anything. And she was like that during the whole life. So yeah, I was just interested in what do we have to say regarding all those topics. So yeah.
Okay, so this decision on making like a little fiction and combining this documentary film, can you well explain tell us about this yeah, your narrative structure and the way you filmed it in the place?
Well, of course, we wanted to try certain things, and of course, we wanted to experiment a bit, but everything came very organically in that film. And for example, I didn't want to finish the film at all because I felt that there is no film without, for example, the monologue at the end of the film. So I was like, okay, I want to finish this film ever. I don't want it to be like without context, without strong political and philosophical point, and so on. And I actually didn't know how to write that kind of text. So I asked a friend of mine who's a scriptwriter, and she works mostly in theater, Olga Dimitrievich. And then she helped me a lot actually. And because I liked her style of writing, because it's very like simple, plain, it's very like it belongs to common people, you know, it's not intellectual at all. So I realized that maybe it's kind of right thing to have that kind of brainstorming at the end of the film. So the same was with like the landscapes and the people and everything. We just felt how it should look like, and then we And of course, we had Dusan Grubin, who was a DP, and we co-directed Taurunum Boy. So we were working together a lot. So we know each other, and we kind of feel very similar things regarding the images. And it wasn't very hard to realize how the film should actually look. And then the idea of having the archive was there from the very beginning. I knew that we'll have to have some archive in the film, but for example, the idea of having like Super 8 filmed in Zemun, that came like very late, almost at at the end of editing, something like that. So I just wanted to let the film go and make itself as much I was making it, and we were making it. So yeah.
I would like to read a quote from, I think your film has like this essence of Walter Benjamin talking about Paul Klee, Angelus Novus. So I would like to read a little phrase of this book about history, talking about history. And he describes this painting saying his face is turned toward the past, where we perceive a chain of events. He sees one single catastrophe which keeps piling wreckage upon wreckage and hurls it in front of his feet. The angel would like to say, awaken the dead and make whole what has been smashed. But a storm is blowing from paradise. It has got caught in his wings with such violence that the angel can no longer close them. This storm irresistibly propels him into the future to which his back is turned, while the pile of debris before him grows skyward, and this storm is what we call progress. And I think it's a really interesting thing to compare with your last monologue. Can you talk about this? How did you manage to think or to write this last monologue? I think it's a beautiful conclusion to the film.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate Walter Benjamin, and I mean, I'm very honored to to hear this from you now. Um, well, actually, both Olga and I have like socialist and communist beliefs still. And I somehow believe that she's gonna be the right person to write that monologue. So I went to her and I was just like told her everything I'd like to be in that text. So like I told her some memories and some anecdotes from the childhood, and told her about the place. And but I didn't want her to see the rough cut. I didn't want her to see any image of the film. I just wanted her to be free to somehow to make the text out of my words, something like that. And then she wrote like very long text. It was like 4 times more than it's in the film. It was horrible. And then we edited the text together, and both some colleagues of mine were helping. We were all like trying to make it shorter because it was impossible for Jelena, the main actress and the producer of the film, to learn it by heart. And then because it was very important for me to film that on the like actual location, and to film everything in one take, you know, and everything is in one take. Nothing was like um, um, recorded after or anything. I mean, regarding the sound also, everything was recorded on the set, and it was very important for me to be like that because it was only true for me like that. You know, I didn't want to manipulate with that text. It has to happen on that spot, you know, under that village. So yeah, I don't know if I answered the question, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's great. So thinking of this, I really like the way you portray the need to return to your seats, to your own hometown or your first, so to say, a place of existence. What is your thoughts on, yeah, going back to your roots and this, to find your new place and your yeah, your place and your meaning of life in some way, but always like going back to your roots and finding who you are, going back, where did you come from?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking a lot what to do. Should I leave Serbia and should I live somewhere else, you know? And what, what the fuck am I doing here and stuff like that? So I just realized that that somehow ex-Yugoslavia is my home country still, and I work in the region and I collaborate with people from all the ex states of Yugoslavia. So I realized that that's my context, and I should try. I shouldn't try to escape that context. I should face it and I should find my own answers. I don't know, regarding life and the future. And so somehow it came naturally to me to also relate that film to the place. Because my mother used to tell me that it's the most beautiful place in the earth, you know. And when you're a child and when you love your grandmother so much, you started like imagining that place. And I went there by chance just to visit. I was like in Greece on the seaside, and I went there just to take a look to that village. I didn't have an idea of making the film. And then when I saw that ruin of her house, and when I don't know, I just was like, okay, I have to somehow relate my present life to this place because it really made sense for me. I don't know how to explain it. It was very intuitive, actually. So yeah.
And talking about this intuitive construction, how did you manage to assemble these images in the final montage, and how did you like these intuitive things to, yeah, to give form to your project or the film? Can you explain us about this?
Yeah, well, I'm very interested in like essay films, and I edited not a lot, but I don't know, more than 20 probably essay films in my life. So somehow I'm very interested in like making films out of different kind of materials. But in this case, it was very you know, like some kind of a dream, because those, like for example, blacks in the film and like fade ins and fades out, I couldn't explain I couldn't explain what it was for me, but it was a strong feeling that it should be like that, because when we were discovering those places, it was like that. It was like, okay, we are see certain images, but we are not familiar with them, and then they're like appearing and disappearing in front of our eyes. It was very strange, and somehow a couple of decisions actually were like that in the film. So I had some kind of like dream or a feeling or a vision, and I just did it. And of course then I showed it to the friends of mine and my collaborators, and I have an editing supervisor. I have to mention that, because I didn't want to be like, like playing smart and I'm the like the smartest one and everything. I just wanted to make sure if it really works. So yeah, Jan from Croatia, Jan Klemše, a brilliant editor, helped me a lot, and he was like very encouraging. And yeah, so as I said, it was like very precisely written, but then everything was like um, shaken and I don't know, so mixed. So yeah.
Well, I have a last question. I really like the way you start the film. Can you talk about us this woman who is driving in this place? Like it's like an oniric entrance to the film. Can you talk about this image? I think it's a powerful way to start the film.
Well, um, so that was maybe the only thing that was written before that actually stayed in the film. Not the only, but one of like three things. And it's kind of an homage to the friend of mine, Slovenian director Vlado Škafar, who also started his film Mother, which we edited together with mother and daughter in the car. And somehow I felt that Jelena should be filmed very similar. Um, but of course she's alone in the car and it's completely different context, but somehow we imagined that she should that the spectator should feel that she's alone, and that we have to somehow see the background, like to feel the entering to the village, to have the background of her leaving certain like houses and spaces behind her and going somewhere new, somewhere yeah. And actually the song the song is also song from very famous Serbian rock group Bajaga and this Instruktori. And actually we all, when we were young, we all used to listen to Bajaga, but I still listen to Bajaga, and I think it's still beautiful. And for example, when we were, and I have had that cassette when I was a little girl, and I was carrying like Bayaga with me all the time. Um, and and when we were leaving Belgrade and going to Greece for the first shooting during the winter, we listened to Bayaga, just like that. And then when I heard that song, I started crying and was like, "Fuck! This is like the right song for the beginning of the film." And so it was also by accident in a way. Yeah.
And how did you found, or how did you yeah, found these images on the already in the village and in this town from this documentary more structure, but this man who is at the restaurant and there is two, I think it's a father and his son, and dancing and singing at the bar. And how did you find it, and how you filmed it? Yeah.
Yeah. So that guy Trifonas was the first person we met when we first time when we went to that village. So Trifonas was there. It was summer, and we were like, "Okay, can you help us find my grandmother's house?" Blah blah blah. And then he helped us, and then we got drunk with him and started liking each other, and we actually became friends. And then I wrote the idea, and then like I think that 3 years passed or something like that, and somehow yeah, I somehow I knew I'm gonna find him there and that he's gonna be one of the characters. So he was in the screenplay also, and so he was very friendly, and those two guys are his sons, and then we just. Spend some time with them, and they did what they usually do. So, and they were like very free, and they were like telling their own stories and stuff. And also during the summer, then later, he was very polite, and he was like peeling those apples and everything with us, and he helped us a lot. So yeah, he became, and there were all. We also filmed some other people and some other families and stuff, but then, and first version of the film had a lot of characters actually, and then everybody told me that it's too much and it's too messy and you are not able to follow the narrative at all. So we decided to keep only Trifonas and his sons and that instructor, like snowboard instructor, but he was like, yeah, an episode. Yeah.
Okay. Well, and do you want to add anything to this conversation?
No, I said almost everything I was thinking about. And thank you very much. I mean, for everything, and especially for Walter Benjamin, and yeah, for these great questions. Actually, yeah.
Well, thanks for taking some time of your night and for sharing these thoughts and the way you structure this film. Nothing, and we really liked your films. I hope we can screen your future films or projects at Black Canvas. So, well, thanks for that.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Well, so, pues gracias a todos los que se conectaron. Pues bueno, todavía nos quedan un día más de proyecciones en el festival, entonces, pues bueno, chequen la programación y pues nada, ahí estamos en contacto. So, thanks, Helena.